here, and you can see we stitched all the way here on the bottom, and my thread broke when I had to flip the couch. It was hard to get to. So coming from the side here, you can see this looks really nice. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and snip down the side here. Not an exact measurement here. One of the last things we do in the couch is gonna be to put a back panel back here. So anyway, we're not gonna stitch this in a fold or anything because we're going to be coming over. So we're just going to do with our upholstery needle, we're just going to do stitching here. And then you're going to do the other side just like this one. So have fun. Hello, this is Rokina with Modern Homemakers, and we're ready for our next part of the couch. We're going to be focusing on the back here. So my couch has these fun curves and poofs and all this stuff that's going to make this kind of a miserable process. So if you have a flat back couch, just slap on your back piece and smile. Since I have all these folds, to cut enough fabric for the back piece, I have to watch out for a few things. A, I have to have enough fabric to go around our side here. If you recall, we had this only coming down to this point, so we need to make sure that we have more than enough there. And I'm going to go ahead and toss a pin in here so we don't pull that out and cry later. Real fun to put pins in things like that are flat. Alright, so that's protecting that. And what we're going to do is kind of follow the curves. So I'm going to be tucking in here. We know that we're going to be coming down far enough to tuck at the bottom and leave a bunch of extra, because we've also got these folds here we're going to be dealing with. And in the back, come look at the back real quick here, we need to make sure, and I'll have more than enough here, but we want to make sure we have at least a hand's width of material beyond the point of the back, because we're going to be connecting the back piece right about where this fold is. So make sure you have about that much past that point. And then we're going to start working our way around the sides. So just to see how much fabric we need to cut. So I'm pushing in as much as I can because we're going to be hand stitching this to stay in that point. So you see I've got that. Just getting a guesstimate here. And before we cut, we're going to double check all those different areas. Okay. Ah, my baby's making fart noises. Isn't that classy? Okay. Little boys will always be little boys, I guess. Yep, so you can see this is not our perfect finished look. We're just trying to make sure we have enough fabric before we make our cut. Okay, and that would be enough on each way around. And because I'm getting near the end here, I'm actually not even going to make this cut. I changed my mind. I can do that. It's my license. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stitching on that side, and that way I won't waste any fabric that I don't have to. So I went ahead in the back and I placed a pin right here so that this doesn't move, because I'm focusing on this cushion segment right now. So I'm going in from the front here, and I am feeling exactly where I'm going to want to make all my fun little tucks and stuff, and making sure that I have enough fabric here. I'm going around the arm specifically. So what we're going to have to do is get rid of this extra piece here. So I want you to leave lots of extra space. I've got it tucked down all the way in here. And I'm going to, even with that tuck, I'm going to go and leave beyond that, just so that I have enough, because I'm still wiggling with stuff here. Be careful you don't cut your fabric underneath that you spend all that time stitching on the arm. I'll put my hand under the scissors here so I don't cut the stuff that we already did. I'm going to pull this out a little. can cut that closer to whatever later. For right now, we just need it to be smaller. And on this side, we have to be careful again because we have this segment where we hadn't finished up the arm yet. So we want to make sure that we leave more than enough to finish that off. So I am going to leave just a straight down here. Not going to continue to follow the curve. I'd like to say once again, I am not a professional. Professionals do lots of measuring and making pattern pieces of their couches, and this is more of a free form. So, okay. So we're leaving this excess down here. So we've got it to work with. Now that we've got that cut, we're going to be able to tuck it down in there more. And remember, we haven't even stitched this one. They're both just sitting down in the couch at this point. Okay. So now what we're going to do is very carefully, so that we can't see the thread from the front, we're going to start putting in some stitches directly into the couch behind. So with your upholstery needle, the one that's curved, you're going to come up behind your fabric, so the knot's on the other side, and come through. And you're going to be careful, like I have a pattern here where it's going to look weird if it starts to go crooked. So constantly checking your fabric as you're moving stuff around. You're going to make really small stitches on the front side so you don't see a big thread chunk on your couch. That's not going to be pretty. And what we're going to do, let's go real in close here. I've come through and we're going to go right next to where we came through so you can't see the stitch. And we're going to come out a little further. And we're going to make sure we stay in the crease that we're trying to pronounce here. So you can see, you can't really see where that stitch was, and that's what you want. You want to not be able to see that. And then over here, we're going to go right next to it. And do the same thing. I'm feeling where that crease is. And we're just going directly into the existing couch to follow what it has going on. So you can see that already is starting to look like it has that shape to it. So every once in a while you need to go to the back side, flip this up, and tie a knot, because if it breaks, the whole thing is going to go out. So I'll do one more stitch and then I'll show you how to do that. What? Right next to where we were. It's really important that your thread be a good color to match. Okay, and I'm going to go behind and show you how we're going to hide. So we were just right here. We're going to go directly next to it. We're going to tie a knot on this side. You'd have to be under to see. I can't lift it anymore. You can see right here, not really going through. We're just going to tie a knot on the back end because you don't want one stitch to pop and all your work to come out. Anyway, it's fun to work this way. It's really hard to get to. Right, and then we're going to come back through with our needle again. Just using your hand to feel where you left off. We're going to be right here. So take your time with this and keep checking as you go across so that you make sure your pattern doesn't start looking crazy. And I'll come back in a couple minutes when I get to here. So go all the way across Once again, if your couch doesn't have a bunch of weird shapes, lucky you. So you can see I've gone all the way through here. Doesn't that look nice? And I've kept this nice and straight still. And I'm right up to the point where I'm going to be going into the fold from the side. It's like that much there. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to do one more stitch, and I'm going to tie this off in the back. One more, and I'm just going to go straight in to tie this off in the back. We don't want to see any of that ugly thread mess in the front. See all this, how that's just been stitched directly to the sofa over the years. If you have a couple stitches that pop, it's going to be a lot easier to add a couple stitches back into this material than it was this vinyl, which tore and was just, that was the end of it once the vinyl tears.